Hi guys, so I'm doing a video today of Curtis Silwa, and he's an interesting character. He's, a long-lived Guardian Angels chief executive co-founder of New York City. He's been known in New York for being tough and being in the subways and being the outgoing, outspoken character that he is. When you think of New York, you think of him. And, right now, currently, New York City is, going through a mayoral race, a very intense mayoral race. And as it stands right now, Curtis stands at 13%, which is basically, I would say, the Republicans of the state or of New York City, or people just independent, or even Democrats that people like him because he is a conservative. And he's very, very, his character is very, I don't even know how to explain it. He's tough, and he's funny, and he's an interesting character. And, Mamdani, as it stands right now, he's at 49%. Cuomo, the disgraced former governor, is at 33. And again, 30, Curtis Silwa is a distant third. And even after the first debate that we had couple days ago, Mamdani's percentage chances actually went up, and now he's at 52%. And then Cuomo actually went down to 28%, and Curtis went up just by 1 point. Because honestly, I think the debate actually introduced Curtis Silwa to the nation, even to the city. To be honest, yeah, we know him, but as a candidate, everybody, the media just wants to talk about the two main people. Their narrative is obviously Mamdani is the front runner and the Democratic nominee because he did win decisively in a landslide in the primary back in June over disgraced former Governor Cuomo. And Curtis, he did a good job, I feel like. He was really out there. He threw some good jabs at Cuomo. And I think that's what, honestly, everybody keeps saying, like Cuomo couldn't really get his groove as much as he could because of Curtis. He kept I wouldn't say interrupting, but every time he tried to throw a jab or made a statement about Mamdani, because obviously trying to attack him, Curtis would be like, really, bro? You really think that Donald Trump is going to be afraid of you? He's like, you're literally the architect of all this mess. You were 10 years of governor of the city, the city or the state, and this is the reason why we're in this mess. Like, what are you talking about? And it would bring his jam down. So I appreciate Curtis for that. And obviously Mamdani loved it. So before I get into Curtis Silwa and who he is, I'm gonna watch a little clip from the Nate Friedman show. I guess he's a podcaster, or he has a YouTube channel, and he does a whole bunch of politics and hot topics and stuff. And he interviewed Curtis Silwa recently. He said he was on his way to ask New Yorkers about what they felt about the New York candidates. And he was in the subway, and who he saw there was Curtis Silwa in the subway. He had the red beret and everything, so he had a chance to speak to him while he was waiting for the train. And then he asked his team. It was a good conversation, the video that he did, and it went viral. And at the time it's still like over 850,000 views, maybe more and counting. Might be more than that, I don't know, whatever the video was saying. Excuse me. And so he asked his team, because his team was with him, Curtis Silwa's team, if they can do an actual video together, one-on-one, and they agreed. So this is a video. So he's going to ask Curtis Silwa, yeah, you're the Republican candidate, but everybody's saying that you're the reason why Mamdani's going to win because you're splitting the vote. And if you drop out, Cuomo is going to close the gap and will beat Mamdani, which it's not true. It would help him, but just too late. We literally have 2.5 weeks left of this election. But we'll see what his response is, and it would just get me to my main point of why Curtis Silwa should not drop out. And he shouldn't. We'll see what he says. Let me Let's hear this.
Hearing all that, you made it very clear, of course, that Mamdani would not be good for New York City. And, as a New Yorker and someone who's just, I'm online all the time and I see what people are saying, I'm sure you come across this. Bill Ackman, for example, yesterday said that, a vote for Curtis Silwa is a vote for Mamdani. I'm not going to ask you, are you going to drop
Bill
out?
Ackman, the billionaire.
The answer is no, and I know you're probably
that doesn't even live in New York.
However, I think it is clear to New Yorkers who are against Mamdani that you and Cuomo are splitting the anti-Mamdani vote. So my question is simple. Are you okay if Mamdani wins that you, so to speak, contributed to that?
Well, number one, Ackman is a jerk. Has he been right yet? Here's a guy who goes up to Newport, Rhode Island and thinks he's a professional tennis player. Come on, Ackman, stay in your lane. Does he know anything about politics? No. Does he live in New York City? No. He lives in Chapaka, the whitest suburb of America, where even the lawn jockeys are white. He may know Wall Street. He may know hedge funds. He has been wrong every step of the way with the billionaires. So let's say people come to the conclusion, if somehow I lose, and we know Andrew Cuomo's lost, he's already tossed in the towel. Oh, it's because of you, Curtis. Because of, really? Mm-hmm. It's because of the Democrats. Wait a second. Who created Zohran Mamdani? Who embraced him? Who nourished him? Who supported him? And how dare you, people who know nothing about politics, suggest that everybody who's going to vote for me is suddenly going to be reborn? We love Andrew Cuomo. He killed all these elderly. He's a sexual harasser. He told conservatives and Republicans in 2014, if you're conservative and you believe in right to life, and the Second Amendment, you have no place in New York. You need to leave. This is the result of the Democrats' self-destruction. So I'm supposed to help them? How come they don't help themselves? Andrew Cuomo failed everybody in that primary. He even admitted it. Now he's basically saying, I can't win without Silwa votes. Where are your votes? Why don't you spend your money, and he's got millions from the billionaires.
Right.
Millions. Go out, get your own votes. Convert Silwa voters. But for me to drop out, I represent a major party line. I have people running under me, council people, judges. They put their heart and soul into it. They support me. I have more donations than Andrew Cuomo does, matching funds.
Right.
So you know something? This is called voting. Sure. Since when do we not let people vote? Billionaires determine the next mayor? If they don't like it, they can leave. They have options. Blue-collar working class people don't. Those are the people I'm representing, not Andrew Cuomo.
Sure. I mean, this is a big topic, so I want to follow up. So do you don't believe that any solid percentage of the people who vote for you would vote for Cuomo if you dropped out? You don't believe that?
Maybe. Mm-hmm. But will that be enough for him to win?
No.
He doesn't have enough of his own voters. Yeah. So basically he's got to poach. Sure. That tells you something right there. You don't even have a base strong enough to beat a fellow Democrat. He beat you once in the primary. 70% of Democrats didn't even put him on ranked choice. What does that tell you?
Right.
They rejected him. So now he's a man without a party. Try to find him on the ballot. You see where he's placed on the ballot, you got to roll through a maze. Yeah. What's his coalition? What's his strategy? I don't see his people in the street.
I mean, look, I understand. I mean,
And that's the thing about Curtis Silwa. Like, he's in the same age bracket when it comes to Andrew Cuomo, and he's been a long life New Yorker all his life. And he's been in the streets. He knows what's on the ground. People well know him if you live in the city. And it's honestly the truth. Like, you had your chance, man. Cuomo needs to just retire. Like, he doesn't understand no means no. And Curtis Silwa, which God bless him, I even was like, wow, for once I agree with the Republican for once, because he even said, like, bro, you had your chance. I was here when your dad was governor for 12 successful years. I'm like, dude, you're not him. In front of the camera, he's like, you're not Mario Cuomo. So stop acting like you're your dad. And the only reason why you're even irrelevant, yeah, you were governor, but you always use your last name and your dad's reputation and legacy to try to benefit you. And look what you have done. All the problems that we have in the city is because of your policies. You were governor for 10 years and nothing seemed to work. So what are you talking about? Again, the primary, they chose Zohran Mamdani. You didn't. And the fact that you say you're not a Democrat, you didn't even vote for Kamala, you called Obama this, like, what are we doing here? First of all, bro, you had to get out of the Democratic registration and become an independent, because no Democrat is going to vote for you. Your party has lost faith and trust in you. You had your chance. And for him to say to Zohran Mamdani, you're not a Democrat, you're not here, bro. You're running as independent. Like, how stupid can you be? A man that's been in politics, that is, a lion in New York City. You should know and understand that. And you base the whole 45 minutes attacking Mamdani on Hamas, Israel. Like, bro, who fucking cares? Zohran Mamdani is running for mayor of the city. He has no control of the Middle East. Leave that to the White House. He can say his beliefs, but it doesn't mean he's gonna fucking start doing all this shit in New York City. Obviously, we have laws and rules, and he knows that. We all know that. We're not stupid. But for you to keep Israel, it just makes even Mamdani's point when you even went to voluntarily represent him at the international court for his lawyer. Like, you wanted to be his lawyer. What does that tell you? You're corrupt. But with that, that's what everyone's saying. Like, they've been trying to take out, Curtis for a while. He even said that billionaires were offering him millions and millions, money that he has never earned in his life. More money that he could never ask for. Like, he would even retire if he get those millions. And he said no. He's like, no, you're not going to buy me. I'm not Eric Adams. I'm not Andrew Cuomo. Eric Adams, the disgraced currently mayor of New York City, would just ruin his reputation with all the scandals and everything. He'd become the worst mayor in New York history. And he even tops Rudy Giuliani. I bet Rudy Giuliani is laughing right now because everybody hated him. We used to love him, and then he went to the MAGA Trump train, Kool-Aid, and he just went downhill from that. Now he's disgraced and nobody likes him. And so they're saying that he's the foil, or he's like the middleman that's causing Zohran Mamdani to win. Hell no. It's because Andrew Cuomo, the sex pest, the ones that sent old people to the nursing homes to die during COVID. 13 women accused him of sexual harassment and allegations and all that, and physical touch and stuff. And yet they spent $60 million to represent him because he has immunity with stupid policies that he lost. That's the only reason why he's not even in jail. And the Congress is literally investigating him currently right now because they're saying that he lied when it came to the COVID deaths. Of course he did. They're still investigating that. Even the moderators acknowledged, like, you might not know that, but that's what's going on. And he's saying that's not true. It's political, using the Trump playbook. No, dude. Like, your time is up, man. Just go away. So, who is Curtis Silwa? Curtis Silwa is an American political candidate, activist, and radio talk show host. He's the founder of the Guardian Angels nonprofit crime prevention organization. It was founded in 1979. It has grown so much since he founded it decades ago to now. It's at over 130 cities and 14 counties worldwide. And it focuses on violent crimes in the subways, patrol streets and neighborhoods without getting involved the police. And that's why I think, let's say Zohran Mamdani wins, that's why I think that he might even ask Curtis if he can use, his organization to help out with patrol, with the streets and the subways and the mental health. Because that's what Mamdani wants to do, like help take some responsibility from the police and get a mental health department or something, to work on that, like social workers to talk to the homeless people if they're not violent, instead of constantly getting the police involved, because that's the reason why there's so much police people exiting the police department. It used to be 200, now it's 350. And the two other candidates are not addressing the real problem. All they want to do is we're going to put more cops. We're going to put more cops. And the problem is, where's the money going to come from? Second, and Zohran Mamdani wants to keep with that number, take some responsibility when it comes to mental health issues away from them. And that has dropped. When it came to statistics from Oregon, they did that. And the police department saw 28% less calls, and it helped them when it came to retaining cops, and it helped with mental health, and crimes went down because the police actually had time, and it balanced out to really focus on crimes that they were policemen for. That's the reason why they joined the force, to focus on crime and make sure the public's safe. So there's that. And, you know, like I said, Curtis Silwa's been a long life New Yorker. He's been shot a couple times throughout his career. He even mentioned it in the debate that he doesn't go on taxi cabs anymore because back in 1992, he was kidnapped from the Gambino crime family. That was the gang back then. And he was shot by his hitman in the cab. But luckily he escaped and obviously survived. And so that's why, you know, he's been known to be out there, and he's a tough cookie. Curtis Silwa has been known to be, I would say, well-known radio podcaster. That's how he started his career too. Not only has he done the Guardian Angel shows, and people know him with the Red Beret and his successful organization. Some up and downs, of course, like every organization has, but where now like Rudy Giuliani and other administrations used to oppose him. Now, obviously, they praise him for his work and dedication, what he do for public safety in the streets. You know, he started his radio career in 1990. He did that for 3 decades. And I guess he stopped. Pretty much, I would pretty much say he retired in March of 2022 once he announced his candidacy for New York City mayor back in 2021. And he did that, and then he pretty much abandoned his radio career after that, and he's been pretty much campaigning ever since. You know, he lost the 2021 mayoral race. Obviously, Kirk Adams won in deep blue New York. His policies is politics. You know, he's a Republican. He's the Republican major candidate for the Republican Party. He opposed defunding the police, of course. Property taxes overhaul, so everyone would pay the fair share, because obviously lower class people pay more than the rich, and that's not right. It should all be leveled out and everyone pays the same. Opposed killing of animals. That's one thing that people know about Curtis, is that he's an anti-killing animal, and he's known for having 16 cats in his home. He admits that he has so much cats, and that might honestly be his weakness, because like, who wants to have so many cats? Like, I don't know. And so he supports no-kill shelters for animals that are in the streets that need a home. So that's really nice of him. And then now, again, he's now the currently Republican candidate for this mayoral race. And it's been real crazy. He's been out there in the streets. You know, he does have his support. It's still, obviously, we all know he's not going to win. But the problem is, everyone now keeps trying to say that you need to drop out because you're the one that's helping Mamdani. No. Andrew Cuomo is helping Mamdani. You know, like, he's just so bad. Even the Fox News, I was watching the reactions from the after the debate on Fox, and they were all like so disappointed. They were all disappointed. They were like, he really needed to like win over people and really destroy Mamdani in his raging polls, but it didn't work, because even though he attacked Mamdani, you know, Zohran Mamdani is a very intelligent rising star in the Democratic Party, And he was prepared. He was prepared. His whole main focus, Andrew Cuomo, was that he's not experienced. He hasn't had no job, even though he is a current assembly member for Australia Queens, and he represents 130,000, and that is a job. He starts saying how privileged he is. He's fake, even though that's what all Andrew Cuomo is, and he uses his father's name to get shit. And Mamdani fired back, and he was like, I understand there might be a hurricane and I might not have the experience, but I do have integrity, and that's something that you don't have. And if we have a health crisis, you're gonna go to the guy that sent people to their deaths in the nursing homes. You know, that was the bar, and that was a huge strike difference. Like, people are just tired. They're just tired. They want something new, and that's why Mamdani is raising in the polls. And either I don't know how far Curtis Silwa would get, but I think he would get at least like 15% of the vote. But let's just be clear. Andrew Cuomo is the reason Mamdani's winning. Not because of Curtis. Curtis, the Republican, fine, he believes what he believes, but you have an old guy, not, you know, he's getting all the billionaires' money, PAC, and all that. He doesn't even have a ground game. And we all know when he started after the primary, he started doing like a TikTok account or start being on social media. All of a sudden, like, you don't come off authentic, man. You just like you give bad energy. You give bad vibes. And yes, a lot of people say you have experience, but the problem is, what do you have to go off of? You know, you're not really showing us a way forward. Usually when a winning candidate wins depending what position, they always have a clear message, a hopeful message, and a clear forward message. And that's what Mamdani has. He wants to freeze the rents for rent stabilized apartments. He wants to freeze the buses because currently right now the buses in New York are the slowest buses in the country. And he wants to get free childcare up to 5 years old. How easy is that? And when we say Cuomo, what does he even represent? You know, he said he wants to keep Rikers after flip-flopping. He wants to define Mamdani for being anti-Zionist and Israel, Hamas, like we give a fuck. You know, we want to know what you're going to do for us. And then he starts saying he wants to add more police, but not really addressing the real problem within the department, why they're firing or why they're leaving, voluntarily leaving, that's a problem. You know, you can't try to have a successful police department when you have really within the department leaving. It's not right. So I just feel like Curtis Silwa, he's a legend. You know, I'm not going to vote for him, but he just keeps doing what he's doing. And people can try to say that why Curtis is staying in the race and this and that. He's only helping Mamdani. No. Yeah, Andrew Cuomo needs to fucking leave. He's an independent, not a Democrat. And he would kiss ass to Trump. He would not help New Yorkers with anything. That was clear. And I think, you know, Andrew Cuomo is his own worst enemy. Who else agrees? We have 2 more weeks until this election. It's going to be very interesting. All eyes are the second debate this coming Wednesday. Mamdani, all he needs to just do exactly what he did the first debate and just explain everything. Just continue. Don't really take the bait from this old guy and just keep waiting it out. He'll be the next new mayor.